The beginning of the movie starts with showing the chaos in a city named Dilford. It can be seen that night there's a young couple's running because they are chased by a horde of terrifying vampires. In their escape, they finally decide to hide in an unknown house and lock themselves inside. But inside, there are already many zombies who are ready to eat their brains. And the scene changed to the situation 2 days ago, in the city of Dilford. Here it shows the usual routine in a school named Dilford High School. There are some rules in Dilford City. That is about how humans, vampires, and zombies can live without hurting each other. The zombies, when they want to roam outside their nest, must always wear a collar that will shock them when they try to attack humans. As for the vampires, they already have fresh blood drinks in packaging form to meet their daily needs and can be obtained at all supermarkets in the city. So that way humans can be safe and survive in the city. In the school hallway, there's a teenager named Dog who is confiding to his best friend about the girl he likes who is named Lorelei. Then the scene moves. Here we are shown a girl who is dressing up, who is named Petra, who is then surprised by the arrival of a vampire who seduces her who is named Milan. Petra has been harboring her admiration for Milan for a long time, and finally she decides to attend when Milan invites her to the vampire party tonight. After that comes a teenager named Ned, who is famous for being the smartest in his school. He is a human who is often bullied by the vampires at school. The school routine looks normal where zombies and humans are lining up in the cafeteria, and vampires are chatting with humans at one table and so on. At that time, Ned falls because he is bumped by Milan, the vampire. Chaz, who is Ned's brother, he is a star baseball athlete. He doesn't help him and he is ashamed of his brother. Short story, Dag, who is also a baseball athlete, is practicing for the tournament. In this practice, he is positioned as a pitcher, and the hitter is Chaz, Ned's brother. Chaz is also Lorelei's boyfriend, the girl Dag likes. Just before throwing, Chaz heats up Dag that he doesn't deserve to like Lorelei. Dag, who gets carried away by emotion, throws the ball hard and fast towards Chaz's head and makes Chaz's face bruised and falls. And night comes. Chaz, Ned, their parents are having dinner while chatting. The father is very sad to see Chaz's condition, who was sentenced to 2 years wearing that device on his face, and couldn't compete anymore as usual. The father is very proud of Chaz as an accomplished athlete, while Ned, who excels in academics, is never praised by his father and is ignored. His patience finally runs out after his father says that there is probably no school fee for him, because all the money will be used for his brother's medical expenses. He argues with his father and leaves the house. In a different place, the vampires are seen partying that night. But in a car, Petra is seen having fun with Milan. Here, Milan persuades Petra to let him bite her and become a vampire. With sweet words from Milan, she agrees to be bitten and become a vampire forever. The scene shifts to show a large wall that reads, "Risk of death behind the wall." A special area for zombies without collars. On the wall, Ned is seen very frustrated and sad with himself, who is not appreciated and valued by his father. Meanwhile, in the zombie complex, he sees the zombie families living in harmony and peace. Out of depression, he gives up his leg to be bitten by a zombie, and in other words, he decides to become a zombie. It doesn't take long for him to join the zombie family and eat together. When he was about to eat his food, he was surprised by a very bright light. And unexpectedly that night, a very large UFO came that could be seen by all the residents in Dilford City. Panic then came to cover the city that night, until the next day each group held an emergency meeting because they were panicked by the arrival of the UFO last night. The human group thought that the vampire group collaborated to take over the city with the help of aliens, and the vampire group thought that humans communicated and called aliens to Earth in order to help them destroy vampires who have been the highest caste in the city. Finally, both groups decided to fight each other, while the zombie group also held an emergency meeting. But they held a meeting because raw brains in packaging for their food were not sent by the local government. At that time, Ned joined the meeting with them. Interestingly, even though he had become a zombie, his intelligence did not disappear immediately. He incited them that people out there did not care about their existence anymore, until finally he managed to incite the zombies to rebel out of their area without collars. It seems that Ned still has a grudge with his father and humans for being often ignored. And the three groups were ready to attack each other. Night came. The three groups were ready to exterminate each other. and the clash of these three groups could no longer be avoided. They killed each other. At the same time, Doug and Lorelei, who were having fun together, were surprised by a vampire attack. Luckily, they were saved by a man who could defeat all the vampires himself. They both thanked him. Then when the man was bragging and telling about every training he went through, a group of zombies came and attacked and ate him. And amazingly, while he was being eaten by a bunch of zombies, he could still talk and tell about his greatness. Without wasting time, Doug and Lorelei ran away and ran to save themselves, and that was the beginning of the movie that was shown. They kept running from the pursuit of the vampires, and they hid in a house and locked themselves in. But in the house there were already many zombies gathered, and the tension was not over yet because the vampires managed to break into the house until the fight got worse, where Lorelei had to be a victim because she was bitten by Petra, who had become a vampire. Here Dag had to fight to save himself from the attack of vampires and zombies, and where he was in one room with Petra and Ned. But suddenly the aliens came back, but this time the alien troops came down to catch everyone they met and then killed them all in an instant. Petra and Ned panicked seeing what the aliens did, but Dag realized that the house where they were was where he used to practice piano, and he knew there was a basement there to hide. Spontaneously, Petra also went in to avoid the aliens and spent the night in the basement. They talked and made an agreement to work together to survive from the aliens who tried to get rid of all the townspeople. The next day, they tried to get out of the basement and go looking for food. In their escape avoiding aliens, there were many things that made Dag and Petra like each other. When they were in town, suddenly they met with the aliens, and like the townspeople who were captured, they were wrapped and disappeared just like that. After this, we find new facts that the townspeople were not destroyed, but they were all teleported to a supermarket warehouse that was so big. Sophisticatedly, three races among vampires, zombies, and humans were made a dividing wall by the aliens so they don't kill each other anymore. Then Petra was intercepted by Milan, who was thirsty for fresh blood because they were locked up, and Petra immediately beat him up because he left her alone after turning her into a vampire. After that, Ned, who was walking, suddenly called by a zombie who turned out to be his father and brother. Chaz, who had turned into a zombie after the first clash yesterday, happened. With zombie language, his father and Chaz apologizing to Ned for his unfair treatment and not considering Ned. Ned was sad, and he forgave them, and they hugged, while Dag managed to meet his parents. When they were happy for a moment, they realized that there must be a way out of the wall enclosure made by the aliens. Doug tried to talk to unite all them back, and his efforts were not in vain. They all worked together and managed to get out of the enclosure by breaking it together. After they got out, they all went to a factory that looked like it had never been attacked by aliens from the beginning, and they arrived at a large room inside the factory. Not long after, the aliens also came there. They looked interested in a pool that contained chemicals and ingredients to make ribs. The alien forms that looked terrifying began to show their true selves, which were only small luminous blobs. Then they flocked into the pool, and there was a very large chemical reaction. The small aliens turned into giant alien figures, and in the end the alien attacked many of the residents there until they were thrown. There, Petra was hit by the alien attack until she was thrown into an ammonia tank, and the hose sprayed hard and uncontrolled and hit the alien, and the alien melted from ammonia. Dog realized it and together with other residents directed the hose to the alien. The residents looked happy because they managed to gradually make the alien powerless. In the midst of fighting spirit, Dog saw Petra being attacked by Milan, who was still vengeful for Petra's previous actions, and without thinking, Dog immediately helped Petra, and a fight occurred between Milan and Dog. Dog was easily defeated by Milan because Milan was a vampire. Dog's hand was broken and he was choked until he passed out, but Dog was not over yet. At that time it coincided with the full moon night that shone on him, and it turned out that Dog was a werewolf who had experienced his first change. His parents heard his howl and they were happy because their child had grown up as a werewolf marked by the change. The fight continued between werewolf and vampire, but this time Dog managed to defeat Milan until he was stabbed and destroyed. Now we go back to the place where the giant alien was being sprayed together. All the residents chased the alien who changed its size to small, but the giant UFO came back and sucked the small alien into the ship. In his UFO, the alien tried to drop a sophisticated explosive bomb the size of a baseball to destroy the city. Ned, who happened to be in the front row, managed to catch the explosive. He threw it to Dog because Dog is a skilled pitcher. With his werewolf strength, he managed to throw the bomb into the UFO, and finally the UFO exploded. A few days passed. It looked like the city and school had returned to normal, even more peaceful and calm than before. And the movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing, you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.